Hello everyone and welcome to episode 6 of my Kenshi the General's Quest series. At the beginning of this, as I promised last time, I'll explain what basically went on last episode in its entirety. Basically, sorry, bit of lag here. So basically, last time, Logan trained his strength circuit, worked on laboring, and got some new clothes bought by Logan, and Molly got a new katana bought by Logan in town. And that's pretty much all that happened interesting after we recruited Logan. There was a slight scuffle with bandits, but the guards ended up beating that before any of us got involved. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. As they stood there, someone came up to them rapidly. A nomad. A nomad went into their house. That was strange. Circuit told his comrades that the goal today would be to make it so that they could be slightly self-sustaining. They had enough wealth to live for now, but if they would wish to grow stronger, they would need technology. They would need 3 building material to begin their exploits. They had enough money for that, but not for much else. Molly and Circuit surmised that they would go back to mining to earn more money to continue their efforts, whereas Logan would go to the store front in the bar to buy more building materials to fix up their establishment. Apparently today they had no building materials, probably because they had bought them already. Logan then ran to the other bar nearby. He passed by a strange sight. A large group of goats. Strangely enough, goats are actually some of the most dangerous creatures in all of the wastelands. They can very easily overpower even a group of people just with sheer numbers. They are insanely deadly. And so Logan ran to the bar. Logan walked up to the barman and acquired for their motley crew 2 more building material. Hmm. Yes, he will have to ferry the resources instead then, for his pack could not hold all of them. So Logan began his run back with the plans already in place via Circuit's instructions. The cacophony of sounds coming from the metal being chipped away seemed soothing almost to Molly and Circuit, who had seen several battles in the last few days. Sometimes calmness is a blessing, and activity is a curse. Hmm. As the sun began to set, Logan finished off his second round of work for the day. finished, but still the internals had not been complete. The storekeeper had just acquired the last building material, though, which, luckily enough, was all they needed. And thus Logan finished the last what was needed to build. His slavers came by, picking up several. Logan started a campfire for cooking. Then looked at his work with pride. Logan then went over to meet up with Molly and Circuit, so as to trade materials. Logan had forgotten to give Molly better equipment before they left. Logan mixed very few words. He traded their equipment, and he took some food for himself so as to not starve. Logan then began to mine at the iron nearby to gain even more wealth once this night of work had been done. More slavers passed by in the night, a worrying sign from their encroaching activity in these harsh lands. The motley crew continued their work throughout the night, getting whatever materials they could. Molly seems to have gotten used to her arm, although it didn't help her in several areas. It was better than, it was honestly better than many which Soka could have gotten for her. She wasn't very trusting of the craftsmanship from the bugman, but she would have to trust it if she wished to use that limb once more. Circuit himself thought of coming days once more. Ever the forward thinker, he thought of what he would do with each of his current soldiers. Molly, he surmised, would become a colonel, or at least a leader amongst his own divisions in his army. Logan, he thought, could become a bodyguard of sorts for his heavy weapon, could slew many and intimidate even more. Maybe they would both become bodyguards in the end. They had both proved themselves to be capable in their early stages, but not yet legendary. Molly had at times forgotten about her bodily arm because she had covered it in rags. This seemed to be more normal for those around her, and thus she turned this into a habit. Logan seemed to be digging for more dirt than actual iron, but he would manage to find several pieces of the precious material. Logan thought of his past as a defender of sorts of a long-lost fort. Manning the turret, he fought against waves of hivers, but they were strange, not like most. They were blue, and they screamed and dragged people off. Day by day, less and less defenders remained until Logan, in the end, did his most cowardly act and ran. He still feels shame for this day, and would never tell Circuit of this, for fear that he would be deemed unfit for his group afterwards. Molly thought of what she would cook in the future, and how many mouths she would have to feed, with the ambition Circuit had told her in days past. As they finished mining the mineral, they went over to aid Logan in the mining of his iron. With all three of them working, it should go by much faster. Together they mine through the material incredibly fast. And Logan's pack was filled in no time. With this accomplished, they all went back to town. Circuit was always worried with slavers, whereas it was rare for them to actually enslave one of his kind. It had happened in the past, and he had witnessed it. Of course, that was just a foggy memory before he had been buried under the sands and started wandering. He did not know who was lost, but he knew it was dear to him. He finds it strange now thinking that there was anyone who was dear to him, because of the lack of emotion he felt towards his friends. He continued on, seeking glory, after these thoughts clouded his mind. He now does not know which of these thoughts were actually true. If he wished for companionship, or if he wished for glory. He surmised now that it was probably glory, but he would need to think upon it further in the future. They gained 3,000 cats from this endeavor. Apparently, they themselves had no. There was not much which they wanted from the actual storefront, except for maybe food for those who were not made of steel. So half those savings were spent on food for the next few nights. Logan stood by the fire, whereas Molly stood guard at the door, and Sukut began his research. And so time passed. Logan, after staring at the fire for a while and recounting events in his life which he either regretted or enjoyed, and he ran up to the shinobi's tower. To train further in some of their arts. At least this would make him more productive. he thought to himself. As Circuit looked through the books in front of him and read vigorously so as to figure out a feasible way for them to set up themselves outside of a major city in the future. That time would not be soon. He surmised that at least 5 of them would have to be, and their strength be stronger than that of the dust bandits, which had been very rarely seen around the hub itself. Today seemed to be very dull in the grand scheme of things. Maybe a mercy, to be sure, for those of us who had been scarred by nights prior. Molly, wishing to be productive, locked the door behind Circuit, knowing he didn't need to go out for a while, and ran off to be productive in the night. Strange. Circuit put down another campfire so as to not... What? Why is it still dark? He's literally right beside a fire. Strange, but not unforeseen, I guess. Only continued her work. A group of 2 bandits attacked Molly. Molly turned around and struck at her assailant. Her chest was beaten viciously. She dodged some of their attacks and blocked a few more. She was winning the combat, but barely. All she need do, though, was survive until they'd come to rob. They beat her senselessly as she was down, and this heavily angered Circuit, and so he charged these assailants. Logan, being in one of his first one-on-one combats, viciously attacked this so-called bandit. Circuit was winning his own combat as well. Molly still lay bleeding on the ground, though. If she took much more to her chest, she might be completely perished. Circuit ran to his compatriot and quickly surmised to fixing her. Logan, meanwhile, looted the body and recovered the food stolen by the assailants. It had been a short but vicious combat, on which they had thankfully won, but not without effort. Not without strife. Logan carried Molly back into the city, while Circuit worked on researching for their group. It had been a straining day for all of them. But for the first time, without help, they were able to beat back their assailant. It wasn't easy, but it was successful. Logan watched over the door to Molly's abode, and thus ends episode And thus ends episode 6 of my Kenshi the General's Quest series. Thank you all for watching. A special thanks to the dude who told me to get another different type of bar for Circuit from the Bandits, who actually had better ones. And yeah, and to all of you who are watching, I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.